Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cloud Show. It is 2024, and this is the first episode of the year. I am quite excited about the topic today because I really like this topic. It's such a great one, and I keep talking to my customers about this a lot. And now we're going to talk to a bona fide expert in upskilling. And the Cloud Show guest of honor, the star of the show today is Hanna Engel. Welcome. Hello, Hanna. What's up?
Hi, Magnus. Hi, everyone. Happy New Year.
Yes, right. That's right. It's this brand new start of a new year. And what's better to start the year off with than upskilling, right?
Upskilling, exactly. That's what I say to people that I collaborate with when I try to encourage them to take up some new courses.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with you. You are Hanna, and you are in Brussels, and your specialty is to help people upskill.
Indeed, in Azure specifically. I spent 5 years at Microsoft being technical trainer. Now I work for Azelis as Azure Cloud specialist.
That's awesome. And so this whole skilling space, it is such a fascinating space because there are so many companies that are moving to the cloud all of a sudden, or sometimes it can feel like all of a sudden, right? Some suits got together in a room somewhere and made a deal with Microsoft for a lot of Azure credits, right? And now you have to use them.
I consume them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I've seen that scenario. Have you seen those scenarios where at the end of the year, when the enterprise agreement time is almost out and the company hasn't spent the cloud spend, it's like there's so much money left. We have to do something to spend some money.
I can't tell. But indeed, that's the case, right? And when companies are moving to the cloud, they focusing heavily on the technology. Oh, it's a new technology. We need to focus heavily on. We need to have this technological setup. But technology tools is just one side of the coin because these are people that are going to work with this technology and those tools.
Right.
And people are making the difference. The people that you have in your company, this is your true resource because you can have the best, the most expensive tools you can imagine. But if your employees don't know how to use them.
Yeah, that's correct. And that's exactly the problem that you have. You can wind up with one of two things, right? Either you do some things with the cloud and you completely overspend. And so you're definitely not being optimal in how you do things because skills, right? You don't know exactly how to do it right. So you're not doing it right. You're just doing things in the cloud now. You did IT before, and now you're doing IT except in the cloud. And you're kind of doing the same thing as before. Or you can't adopt the cloud. That's where skilling comes in, right?
Yeah, you touched upon an interesting topic. So you need to first ask yourself why you need skilling, because everyone wants skilling, right? Everyone wants learning school, learning sexy, learning is a buzzword. It prepares your company for the future. It gives you the future-proof skills, but you need to pay for it. And when I say pay for it, I don't necessarily mean you pay for the course, because we all know there are tons of free resources online. You have YouTube, you have, just to give an example, Microsoft Learn, everything's for free there. But what you pay with when we talk about skilling is you pay with the time of your employees.
Yes.
Because you can't just say, hey, we're doing skilling, we're doing learning, but at the same time, I expect you to perform at 100% all the time, just like you used to.
Right.
It's simply not feasible. There's only 8 working hours in a day. So if you expect your employees to dedicate some part of the day for learning, you need to be aware that they will not spend this time on putting down fires on daily operations. So that's something to bear in mind. Are you ready to take a couple of hours from your employees' working hours in a week so that they can dedicate it on learning?
That's That's an interesting approach on that. I haven't much thought of it that way. It's like either they spend much more time doing something they really don't know how to do, or they take some time to invest in training themselves to understand how to do it, and it pays back, right? The investment time that you take away instead of being productive, which you're not,
It's
then,
putting
because you
our
don't know how
fight.
to do it, right? Instead of being fake productive, spending the time trying to solve the problem, go and learn how to solve the problem and then solve it effectively.
Indeed, but the pain point is that this is a long-term investment, and so
Yes.
you see the return of on the revenue after a while, and you might. And there's another caveat: how do you measure the return on the revenue from the learning?
Yeah.
How can you measure whether your learning initiative was successful? It's so intangible, right?
Yes, it's soft, right?
It's very soft whether someone
Mhm.
truly learned something. Maybe they were just lucky, maybe they just passed an exam, maybe they cheated,
Yeah.
or maybe they just clicked through the training if there was no exam. How can you measure it, right?
Yeah. So how can you measure it? Is it possible?
Yeah, sure. And besides the obvious, so taking the exam,
Sure.
measuring the progress of learning in many of the tools that you might have available,
Mhm.
I stumbled upon something interesting called Kirkpatrick's 4 levels of training evaluation. And there we
Kirkpatrick.
look, Kirkpatrick's
Okay.
four
All right.
levels of training evaluation.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
It's a bit of a lengthy
Yeah. It's
name, but
about it's a mouthful, but tell me, what is this about?
So first, we measure learning when we talk about the reaction towards the training. So simply, hey, did my employees enjoy that? So because if they enjoyed it, they were more likely to listen to it, and they were more likely to learn it. That's
Mhm.
pretty
Mhm.
straightforward. Then we measure the learning. Did the learning occur? So let's say, did they pass an exam? So they learned something. Then we measure whether the behavior has changed. And now this is a tricky one
Yeah.
because
Right. How do you do that?
yeah. Uh, so we come back to your why. You need to know why you want your learning. You need to have a problem you want to solve.
Mhm.
So I want to introduce a learning initiative to improve productivity. I can see that productivity is low because of the below proofs. So let's say that my service desk is overwhelmed because of the number of tickets that my users submit. So
Sure.
I introduce a learning initiative, and then I can measure the change in behavior by the decrease of number in tickets.
Oh. That's it's really good if you can measure it that way, because that's always been one of the caveats of taking away productive time to give learning to shouldn't the employees be learning on their own time? Why is this something that
Huh.
we have to bother with, right?
Yeah, I love what you just said because I also had this sort of conversation. Should the learning be pushed from up towards bottom, or
Mhm.
should it be driven from the bottom to the higher
To the top.
echelons of the leadership? Because
Correct.
hey, it's not fair, right? Employees should show that they want to learn as well,
Yeah.
uh, and I disagree. I'd say that it should be driven from the leadership because the fact that your employees are not necessarily willing to learn about the cloud doesn't mean that they are not happy to learn, okay? They may be very curious, very ambitious people, and they love to know more about ceramics, which might happen not to be the core of your business. So
Hmm.
the thing is that it's not that people don't want to learn. What you want is your employees to learn exactly what will drive your business. And
Yeah.
that's why it should come from you because you should give them the reason. Why should I learn about this cloud computing? Like, what's in it for me? Because
Hmm.
if you tell them, hey, the reason you should learn about the cloud is because I want to drive the profit. I want to increase my margin. I want to grow my company.
That's
I don't care.
No, the
But if
employee
you
doesn't care.
but if you tell them, hey, it will increase your employability. Hey, it
Hmm.
will make you more interesting on the market. It
Yep.
will give you future-proof skills.
Yep.
If you give them a chance, a project that, hey, if you take this training, I will give you an extra project to show off your skills. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
a promotion is possible. Then there is this extra motivation. But you know
Yep.
what they say, that the reward for a great work is more work. So besides the chance for more work, there should be a sort of a reward. So
Mm.
I suggest putting this learning into KPIs, saying, hey, there's a bonus, there's a light at the
Yep.
end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I think some form of incentive is important there. I agree with you because there's this and I agree that it should come from the top down. There's this saying that a company shouldn't be afraid to train their people, right? Because the expression goes, "What if I train them and they leave?"
But
Right?
what if they stay?
What if you don't and they stay? Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's exactly. Do you want a company that you're protecting your employees from leaving you? You're protecting your company from your employees leaving, but you only have underskilled people in your company. What's the point? So there's a lot in this IT game right now. I think that it's. Do you agree that maybe it's a buyer's market in a sense that an employee will move or employees will go to a company that seems exciting, right? Because there are a good number of tech companies out there, so they will go to one where there's opportunity, where there seems to be happening things, and if
But when we
right,
talk about the cloud, most definitely there is a shortage of talent on
yeah,
the market,
yeah,
and yes, the employee can choose. So if there is a company that offers more skilling and initiatives that even shows the initiative that shows that they think about the future, that they
yeah,
think that they care about the employee.
hmm,
It shows and it says a lot about their relationships towards the workforce.
yeah, exactly, and that's so important, and I kind of like that notion to ensure, show to everyone, show to the world that you care about skills. It's the same with community work. I love community stuff, right? And that's companies that support communities of learning, like meetups and things. I see that as a similar thing here, that sometimes companies in Sweden, that they would support a community like the local Azure user group or something by helping, like, we're going to buy you the pizzas or something, and they motivate their employees to go and learn at the community, and then they support it. I think those kinds of companies supporting learning in various ways, and they have a good strategy for it internally as well. I think it's attractive as an employee.
Absolutely, because learning doesn't necessarily need to happen the way we traditionally think. So you have a course, you have a training, now go sit on a table and someone will preach you and show you the way, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Nowadays, learning can occur during conferences. Learning can occur during those meetups, the
Yeah.
community groups. People talk. I think the clue here, especially when we talk about the cloud, is the experience sharing. And
Yes.
there's no single mentor who knows everything. We are leaving this traditional setup of a teacher and a student, but rather we all can be teachers because we all have this unique experience that we can share
Mhm.
with others, and others have their own unique experience that they
Yeah.
can share with us,
Yeah.
and we can find synergies somewhere in between.
So are you? I agree with this, and are you then thinking in the terms of having some sort of collaborative learning experience or setup within a company as well, that you help each other with that?
That would be great. But then we come to the we need to bear in mind that learning is not something that's nice to have. Learning, it's a switch, it's a shift of a mindset in the organization. You
Yeah.
change your organization into the learning organization, because if you want to have experience sharing, then you need to tackle competition, right? You need to tackle the oh, I'm better than you. You need to tackle, I want to show off to my manager that I know more than my colleague. There's a lot of ego that you need to manage. We're all humans, it's there. But again, it's a long-term investment and it's a long-term change. And then again, I believe it comes from up down.
I think so.
If the employees don't see the power struggle between their managers, they feel safe and they don't do it themselves within a team. If they feel that the manager introduces those knowledge sharing initiatives, then they understand, oh, okay, that's supported by the management. Okay, that's cool.
Right. So knowledge sharing initiatives and a learning culture, you have been touching upon that several times here in this conversation. How does a organization start? So we're going to the cloud, we're investing, we need the cloud for various reasons: global presence, scaling, save money, all the things. But our people are not where they need to be with skills. So we need to become a learning organization. Yay! How do you do
it? So it's a great place to start. Enthusiasm, it's the best place you can start with. But once you're done being enthusiastic, then you can get to work. And I believe that as a leader, you have your approach should be twofold. So on one hand, you look at the reason why learning is necessary. On the other hand, you look at the learning infrastructure. So, and learning infrastructure is a place that I feel learning organizational leaders spend most of their time. So they think, okay, what kind of skills are needed? The project management, where does the course will be delivered? How does the course will be delivered? What will be the form? What will be, and so on and so forth. Things that can be managed by a project manager. You don't need to be a more general leader in IT to make that work. So there is a framework that can help you set things up. It's called ADDIE. It's an acronym from Analyze, Design, Develop, Implement, Evaluate. It's not groundbreaking, but frameworks are not supposed to be groundbreaking. They're supposed to give you some structure.
Yes.
So that's something that you can Google just to know where to
ADDIE. Start. Okay. So you had ADDIE, ADDIE, right? And then Kirkpatrick is another reference.
For levels of training evaluation.
All right, we'll try to put those as show notes and something like that. That's great. So using some form of supporting structure to get things going, and then of course using all the usual resources like Microsoft Learn and I don't know, certifications, like which certifications are good for us and so on. It's nice for an employee, if I'm an employee, to have a certification goal, right? I want to have this specialty, security specialty, or something else as a learning goal. It's nice, I think, set up with there's a checkbox at the end that says I have a certificate.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that accountability is something very important to be set up, because a reward is great, a carrot is great, but not everyone is motivated by a carrot. There are employees that what their priority is not work, and it's more than fine. Everyone can have any priority they wish, and we still need to work with those people. So I believe accountability is super important. So whenever I set up a learning initiative, I always ask myself, okay, we decide that this group needs to take this training. Yeah. What if they don't?
Yeah, exactly. What if they don't?
And it's a good question, and it needs to be answered. And I believe there should be a minimum, a bare minimum that we expect from our employees to complete, to pass, so that we send a message that learning now is in our DNA. Learning now is part of your daily operations, of your responsibilities.
Yeah. So a bit of investment from the employer side to set up a good culture, a good framework for it. possibly with a carrot at the end of it, but something, right? Set up a goal to show that they care about the future learning, the future of the employees. This is sort of it. Yep.
And explaining the reason, what's in it for them, and in what's in it in the learning as a whole, that okay, the career for sure, the future-proof skills, but also what's in it for them in learning what I asked them to learn, because they leave their job, they stop putting down fires, and they choose to dedicate some hours from their day to learn that. How is that going to help them moving forward? That needs to be explained.
Fantastic. That is a great summary, and that is all we have time for today. Thank you so much for being with us to talk about upskilling today, Hanna. I really enjoyed this one. Thank you so much, and thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you again next time on The Cloud Show.
Thank you for having me. Bye.